It's a first impression, though, and he might be smarter than he, I don't want to say looks, but that. Well, everybody, it is officially that time of year again. The newbies on the cast of Big Brother 28 have been announced, and I'm going to talk about them today, as well as some of these higher profile players that are maybe supposedly on this season as well. So this is going to be my first impressions video. I watched the video that Big Brother themselves put out on this new cast. Honestly, as the video went on, I did feel like a lot of this cast is kind of giving boring, because like the last two seasons, at least most of the cast when they first came out, they seemed like they could be entertaining. Overall, not this one. On the plus side, though, I do think this cast seems like they will, well, maybe not all, but most of them will have great social games. But honestly, the cast is giving that they could make a big alliance too, and I hate when that happens. I also think this is the most whitewashed cast of Big Brother in the last 6 years, which I hope doesn't mean bleak feeds, but we will see. Hopefully nothing crazy happens on the feeds this year. I have enjoyed the last few seasons of not having to discuss all of that shit. It seems like Big Brother's trying to do more with the feeds this year, even having some feeds go on YouTube right here on YouTube after some episodes or something. I haven't been following along because I've still been following Love Island so much, but I'm here to get into Big Brother energy. So let's get into this cast assessment. For any of you that haven't watched me before, I could be a little harsh. So I will be covering live feeds this season, and I always give my honest opinion. I finally had to put "I'm a critic" in the description of this channel because I'm very critical, especially when it comes to bad game players on shows like Big Brother. And also today, this is my first impression, so I do have to judge people on their looks as well. Nothing harsh, obviously, but there's a few things that I think I do need to question today. But let's start with Ashley, who is 24, a bartender from Chicago. Another Ashley. Like, I doubt I will like her as much as I liked Big Brother 27 Ashley last season. I was a big champion of Ashley last season. I knew she was good feeds, and I knew she was a smarter player than the edit was giving her, and then she won. Surprise, surprise. Though, Ashley from last season on social media, she'd be doing too much. But this Ashley also seems like she might do too much. She seems like a big talker. You can tell she talks a lot. Even in her intro video, she says she is a yapper. She's very chatty, and she clearly is. But I feel like most of this cast is chatty. So I don't feel like her being overly chatty is going to necessarily hurt her. I think it could actually help her. I liked things that she said in her video, like she wants to be in her villain era for this show. I like when people go into games ready to embrace their villain era when it comes to gameplay, at least, and being able to stab the right people in the back. There's also a few boring women on the cast this season, and Ashley is not one of them. So on first impressions, I feel like Ashley is someone I'm going to be able to mash with and like. But if she is overly chatty and that chattiness leads to some stupid decision making or just saying too much, she could have a fall from grace with me. But so far so good with Ashley. Barrett is 27, a Jumbotron engineer, which is quite a cool job. I'd never heard of that job before. He is a super fan. Apparently he's podcasted on Big Brother for the last 6 or 5 years or something, as well as podcasted on Survivor. So I do believe he is a real super fan. He talked about moments that he watched on the live feeds, that he had seen on watching live on Big Brother After Dark. And if he's podcasted on the show, I hope he is, someone who takes the right note, that you not only need to be strategic, but you need the right kind of social game. But he is another one that I think comes across as a very social person. He also says stuff like he thinks he will be a villain because he is good at smiling in faces and stabbing people in the back. He's open to a showmance, which most people said they are this season. This could be one of those seasons with multiple showmances. He talked about being a flirt, although they say online he is in the LGBTQ community, which usually doesn't get a showmance on this show. But that is possible this season, which we will get to. Honestly, Barrett is one of the only few guys I liked on first impression. But usually the male super fans annoy me, for anyone that has followed me for years with my coverage, because they tend to overplay and like do really stupid things. I don't like really stupid things. So he has the potential to annoy the fuck out of me just because most super fans make really dumb decisions because they want to overplay right off the bat. So it remains to be seen how I feel about Barrett. But first impressions, I think I will like him. I do want to see him play. It's cool to have someone who podcasts. I've never seen him before or watched any of his podcasts, but it's cool to have someone that does that on the show. Chuck is 27, a supply chain analyst. He says he is fun and easygoing, and he comes across that way. He's another possible social gamer, which I feel like most of this cast is. He admitted to being a casual viewer, which I actually appreciate, because way too many people get on the show and say they're a super fan, and then they're not. Like Adrian last season was not a real super fan. He just sucked all the way around. So I appreciate the honesty. He says he talked a lot about people like him easily right off the bat. However, he is a very buff guy. And even though Big Brother competitions are usually stupid, I do think he could have a target on his back very early. He wants to win the women over first because they don't break alliances as easily, he says. Two things here. This is one of the best things said in all of the videos. A straight guy having this strategy to try and make these alliances with women, multiple alliances, or maybe a bigger alliances with mostly women, is a different concept than what we usually get. So I do like that. However, I don't know if it's necessarily true that women don't break alliances as often. I did feel like he was kind of overconfident in his social ability, so we will have to see if he lives up to his own expectations, that people usually like him in the first 5 minutes. He's another one open to showmances. He's one of the people that said he sees himself more as a hero, although in another video he did talk about how in the end he would like to take someone that he could beat over an ally, though. A lot of people answered that question correctly. We'll see what Chuck brings. His early game will be harder than most because of his obvious strength and muscles. Drew is 22. He is a dental assistant. Listen, this is probably a tough thing to say, but I am judging Drew on his face. And no, it's not because I'm saying he's ugly. I am saying it's because he has a young face. Drew is 22. He looks younger. And I don't know if he's going to gain respect from people on the cast because of that. Now, I did read that this is, on average, the youngest cast in years, though. So he might be okay in the long run. He also talked about being a top graduate, so he is smarter than he looks. I think the fact that he did so good and his book smart, that he did so good in school and his book smart, could help him here, especially because of his look. He looks so young that he might actually get away with being able to be cunning, but he also doesn't come across as someone that can be cunning. Like, he seems like he is a little over the top. So I need to see how Drew fits in socially and if his age and his young face does him in. Haley is allegedly 29. She is a telemedicine executive. Honestly, one of my least favorites on first impression. Again, this is first impressions. Things can change. They have in the past when I've done first impressions because we hardly know these people. But I have some mean things to say. Because first, she was so low energy in her intro compared to everyone else. And like, I don't like when people are too high energy, especially on this show. People love to yell in confessional. But I guess, the positive of seeming low energy is that she might be calmer within the game. But like, her energy was not only low energy, it was like bothered to be there energy. Like, she didn't exactly seem happy to be there. Also, she says she's 29. I don't know if I believe it, because she looks like she's a 40-something that should be on a Real Housewives show. Like, she looks like she should be on the Real Housewives of Kansas City. She did talk about how she knows she is intimidating, but like, I think if her energy coming in is like as bothered as it came across in this video, that can't be great. She does seem nicer than she looks, though. And, you know, looking 40-something doesn't mean that she doesn't look nice. Like, she doesn't look ugly. She just doesn't look 29. Jason, a.k.a. Salina EsTitties from Drag Race. I said I wanted someone from Drag Race on this show. Finally, we never got it in a celebrity version of the show. This time we get one, and he is a huge fan of the show. He has applied for these shows before he was ever on Drag Race. You could find his Survivor audition video out there. So I think he's another one that knows the game and is another one that will have a great social game. Also, Drag Race can be a very cutthroat game. I think more cutthroat than people think it would be, especially All-Stars, although I never did see his All-Star season. I like that he's coming in without the possibility of people knowing he's from Drag Race, because we're getting these other people from other shows and possibly a returnee, and people are going to know them. And they're gonna make a big deal out of it, but they're not making a big deal that he's from Drag Race. It is a much different show, obviously, so I see why. I do wonder if people will recognize him, though. He did talk about how he wants to get in with the straight guys, but of course also be good with the girls, because the girls will love him, he says. He did talk about being there for a showmance. They say Barrett is LGBTQ, who is also open to a showmance. You know, having the first gay showmance on Big Brother would spice up this otherwise vanilla cast. Do I think the higher ups at Paramount would want that to happen? No. Camus, I believe you pronounce his name that way, is 32. He's an MMA fighter. This guy was in the UFC for a hot minute. I think MMA fighters can be insane. And I don't mean in a good way. But, you know, an MMA fighter did win Celebrity Big Brother 3. So they are also more cunning than they might come across. He is actually one that I don't know if he will have as good of a social game as other people on this cast. He will probably have a good social game with, like, the bros. I feel like he could bro up pretty easily. He's also somebody that was wary of being in a showmance because he thinks it could get in the way of winning the game. He also talked about how he could be too trusting. I actually think there's a lot of negatives for Camus coming into the season and everything he said in this first video. It's a first impression, though, and he might be smarter than he I don't want to say looks, but also, like, some of his answers came off like less confident than a lot of these other people, and you know, that kind of energy can get you eaten alive in a game. Latrice is 57. She is our oldest. She has a big, warm personality, and I do think she comes across very, very social. But like I said, there's a lot of people on this cast that comes across social, so I don't know if that is as big of a strength as it could be on another season, because I do think Latrice is going to need such a strong social game to last long. She did talk about, though, that she also does bodybuilding competitions, so maybe her look won't actually hurt her being the oldest. I am just worried about her in the beginning. I do think that people could come for her, see her as an easy target, being the oldest. She also thinks that people could see her as snooty at first, and she can't come across that way early in the game while also being the oldest. Apparently, she's also won Grammys. She was in a musical group called The Sounds of Blackness. She said her uncle is Cool from Kool and the Gang, so she has a long history with the entertainment industry. She's also open for a showmance. She said she is a happily divorced mother of 4. I really love her personality. I don't think there's going to be anyone there for her for a showmance unless someone's trying to be on Age of Attraction instead of Big Brother this season. Also, Latrice, 57, our oldest, looks as young, if not younger, than, Haley, who is supposedly 29 years old. Lyric is 25. She is an attorney from Hawaii. Right off the bat, Lyric was giving try hard for me. She talked about being very competitive throughout the video, but I could tell before she even mentioned that. She talked about how she goes to the gym twice a day, how she, graduated early. If Lyric doesn't overplay, I will be surprised. She talked about how she won't tell people she's an attorney, which worked for Ashley last year. But I think Ashley's personality and playing dumb helped that. Whereas Lyric already comes across so competitive, and she said she's competitive so many times throughout this video. Like, I don't know if she's going to be able to hide the fact that she is a smart person. And I mean, I guess she can just lie and say she's not an attorney, but I feel like people might be able to see that something is off with her if she tells a really stupid lie because of how competitive she clearly is. Mallory is 24. She is a rocket scientist. I mean, I don't know. I don't like nerds on this show normally. I believe she will be one of the smartest people in the cast, but I think the problem for her is that she looks like it. She looks like a smart nerd. Let's just be honest. She also looks too much like Callie last season, which gave me bad flashbacks. She says she has an outgoing personality, so we will see. She said she's very confident. She comes across as such. So I got to see how she fits in, because it's not like there are not other nerds on this cast. But did I mention that she looks like a nerd? Because if I, in my mind, pictured a rocket scientist who's a woman, I would picture them looking like her. So, if Chuck is going to be seen as a threat because of his strength and looking big and strong, she might look like a threat because she looks too smart. She does sound very logical, though, rather than an emotional player. So I actually do want to see how she plays. I hope she's not like Callie and crazy. Callie was a terrible player. God-awful. Only saved because of the blockbuster twist. Mallory, I think, will be much smarter than Callie game-wise. Socially is where I'm concerned for her. Melody is 24. She is a game show host. Apparently, that's a big secret. She doesn't want to tell people she is a game show host. I don't know why that would make people concerned about her gameplay, but okay. Melody was totally giving me cat vibes from last season, which I am making that comparison to be derogative. Didn't like Cat, and she was kind of giving similar vibes. I think she could use her looks to her advantage, but she was one of few people who said she is not open to a showmance. That doesn't mean that she's not going to have one, though, because we've seen that in the past, people saying they're not going to have one, and then they do. I didn't love her on first impressions. And speaking of people I didn't love, Rome, 28, a pickleball coach. I hate everything about him so far. But it's just first impressions. As I said, that could change. Also, though, clearly all you need is a mustache to get cast on Big Brother these days. The last 2 seasons with Joseph and then Vince. And now both Rome and Barrett have the mustache look. So if you're trying to get on the show next season, just have a mustache. He said weird things. He says he looks like an alpha, but he really gets along with the betas, and he will protect the betas and the submissive people. I don't even know what that means. I don't know why he wants to be a warrior for the submissive people. It sounds like he wants to be a warrior for the nerds. So Mallory might have found her man right here in Rome. That's kind of the showmans I want. Mallory and Rome. Let's get to it. But another reason why I didn't like him is that he talked a lot about how he's such a nerd, but was also trying to hype himself up for his athletic abilities the whole time. We have Taylor, who's 27, an elementary school teacher. I think she's another social person, but a lot of people are. She came in talking about this weird strategy where there's a 3-part team, and they're all going to be team captains of a different thing. One's going to be the captain of the floaters, and then I guess the other 2 are going to be on opposite sides of the house, but they're going to be working together. I mean, it's an interesting idea, but like it's a little complicated of a plan to have before you get into the game, because having such a big plan before you get into the game doesn't really help. She talked about how she comes across sweet and innocent until she opens her mouth, because I guess she's coming out of her villain era, whatever that means. Honestly, she gives off someone who works in an elementary school. Like, that is the energy she gives off. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing for Big Brother. She did talk about how she could get along with young people and old people. She talked about how she's working on handling conflict, because she doesn't like to be the aggressor. But when she's being disrespected, she may fly off the handle. She could have some drama. I don't know. Yash, I'm going to butcher names. He's 24. He's way too loud. He was honestly the opposite of Haley for me, who gave off such low energy. This guy gave off way too high of energy for me. Now, I think he will be smart. Do I think he will maneuver himself in a smart way? Not with how over the top he seems to be. And it's not over the top in a natural way. It's over the top in a, I'm a YouTube host and today we're going to talk about blah, 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 blah. I hate that kind of energy. And that's the energy he gave off to me. Also, I felt like he was very cocky rather than confident in his video. So I believe those are all the newbies. But we apparently have people entering the game. Rick Devens from Survivor has been told to us that that is one of the people. And Rick Devens, for me, he's a good player. I won't say he's not a good player, because he is. He's somebody that can be a little chaotic, which I can enjoy. I like the chaotic side of Rick Devens. I, however, don't like how annoying he could be. He can get on my nerves. And so we've never seen him on live feeds. If he could get on my nerves on an edited show, he could easily get on my nerves on a show with live feeds. Also, he's talked about in the past how Big Brother fans are too much, how he doesn't like Big Brother because of the Big Brother fans, how he doesn't want to be super judged by Big Brother fans. Well, he came to the wrong show, because that's exactly what's going to happen. People were announcing all these letters about who might be on the cast, and I will take Rick over fucking Rizzo from Survivor. So I'm glad it's Rick and not Rizzo. Angela has been announced as the returnee from Big Brother. Angela is someone who can give TV moments. I think that this not so spicy cast could use someone like Angela. My problem with Angela has always been two things. Like, the shtick gets old for me. It does get old because in her season, she would always try and start these fights, but then also she would always play victim after the fights. And eventually it did give off Karen energy. It did. So I feel like she can bring entertainment, but that entertainment can easily get old with Angela. As a player, she was able to get off the block a lot from what I recall, which is a good thing in Big Brother. Plus, you have the extra thing of the blockbuster. So I think production's going to work overtime to keep Angela around and keep Rick around. So I'm on the fence about how I feel about Angela being back. I don't strongly dislike her, but I don't love her as much as others do. They're also saying that Dee might be coming from Survivor 2. This is weird to me because it's kind of like it's been announced that she might not start the game when Angela and Rick start the game. I don't know what that means. I don't know if we're losing someone on night one, which is a twist I've talked about not liking. I don't really want to lose a newbie on night one before we even get to see them on feeds. Maybe if that newbie is Haley or Rome, I will be okay. But yeah, I don't know what to think about when or if Dee will be entering the game. Dee is an odd player. She played a great game to win the game on Survivor. On the challenge, I felt like she was a horrible player. So how will she do on Big Brother? I don't know. I want her to do well, and I'm kind of just as interested to see her play as Rick, because I feel like they both come with pros and cons. But honestly, I don't have a whole lot to say on D as a player coming into the season, because I don't even know for sure if she's on this season, but it seems likely. I just don't know what kind of weird twist is going to get her into the game or something. So yeah, I will be here for my usual live feed coverage, which I think begins Friday night. I think they want us to watch Big Brother Unlocked first before we could have the live feeds. Without Big Brother Unlocked, we would have the feeds on Thursday night. So I'm going to try and get into the rhythm. It'll probably take me a week to get into the rhythm of, filling out the live feeds, remembering everybody's name. I hope we have an entertaining season. Last season had terrible gameplay, but it was entertaining. Similar to the season before. Terrible gameplay, but it was entertaining until the last month. I felt like the last month of Big Brother 26 got a little still. This cast is giving me more Big Brother 25 vibes than the last two, and that's not a good thing. But I hope they prove me wrong, and we are in for an entertaining season or, a very heavily strategic season. Something. Give me something this summer, Big Brother.